leaving Japan, we're now going to Taiwan, and Captain Paul Brackley is going to greet us. Actually, Paul's in, I'm just saying he's in Hong Kong at the helm there, but his knowledge and experience of Taiwan is extensive. I first met Paul when I went to Taiwan on a Superyacht Ambrosia, Benetti 65 meter. Paul was a captain, and we went cruising in the Penghu area, and it was the first super yacht to be given permission to cruise in that area. Paul started his career as a marine engineer and moved quickly on to being a super yacht captain. He's set up a company called Central Yachts, who offer design and project management to super yachts. And today he's going to give us the inside knowledge on Taiwan and the growth of the super yacht industry there and cruising. Over to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Susie. Okay, so I think most people don't really know anything about Taiwan. So we'll start with the flag. There we are. That's the Republic of China flag. And let's go a little bit of history. It was originally called Isla Formosa, or Beautiful Island. Not to be used for navigation, as you will spot immediately. That is actually east up. But you see on the eastern side, strong mountains, high mountains, and then on the western side, the shallow coastal plain. Historically speaking, there have been three major peoples in China and in Taiwan for recent times. In the north was the Spanish, in the center was an early Chinese kingdom, and the south were the Dutch. More recently, there was Japanese occupation between 1895 and 1945. Going into the geology, quite interesting. So we're in the Pacific Rim of Fire. We have quite a big subduction zone here, which means we get quite a lot of volcanic activity, but not these nasty things. We don't get those at all. What we get is hot springs. And so we have, hot spring. And for some of you, you might be more interested in this. There we go, just to include everyone. What we do have, a bad feature of volcanism is the earthquakes. And this is not, this is a result of an earthquake. Buildings are very well built. They tend to topple and not actually collapse. Okay, the island is been inhabited since prehistoric times. The original inhabitants look like this. They still maintain their culture in the highlands. And if we look at some of the features, you might draw a parallel between certain other peoples. And in fact, these guys had boats, and it is believed that, well, not this boat, it's a little bit too small, but some boats went as far as the Marquise Islands. This is a theory that the original Aborigines from Taiwan went to the Marquise Islands 5,000 miles across the Pacific, and they created the Polynesian culture. So here we have some Marquise Islanders here, and I think, as you can see, that's very much Polynesian culture. And here we move on to show the Marquise Islands. This is a little boat I took across the Pacific, and it's out of our zone to talk about today, but this is Espiritu Santo and Marquise. Very beautiful area. Okay, right, let's get back to Taiwan. And so Taiwan has been Chinese since before recorded history. The Dutch, however, arrived in the early 17th century until they were removed in 1670. Oh, here we are. I think you can see this is the Dutch influence. This is Flemish bond, I think. Maybe someone can correct me. But they were removed from Taiwan by this gentleman here, Mr. Koshinga. He actually evicted the Dutch men, but the Dutch ladies, in fact, remained, which is why even today, sometimes in Taiwan, you will find children with red hair. Okay. Okay, there we go. Red hair. Anyway, so it remained mainly Chinese control until 1895, when there was a shipwreck. A Japanese shipwreck. The sailors managed to escape ashore, but were then caught by the Aboriginal inhabitants and apparently eaten. Not actually like this, so we'll just go to a bit of history. The real cannibalism in the Polynesian culture, as was seen in Marquise Island, it was like an overground hungy. That is an oven. The square structure in the middle is an oven, and people are actually cooked on there, sitting down. In the foreground, actually, is a hole in the ground. That was the prison. Anyway, so the Japanese took over the island by treaty in 1895, and this really led to a very rapid development of Taiwan. It really progressed much more quickly than mainland Japan. Oh, sorry, mainland China. And also, along with the architectural developments, we see the beginnings of a marine culture. This is the beach in Kaohsiung in the early 19th century. So yeah, it shows this. These are the locals enjoying the beach. Okay, so Japan at the end of the Second World War, they left, and it became again China, Republic of China, led by this gentleman, Chiang Kai-shek. There was, okay, here's Chiang Kai-shek now. Yeah, there we go. So this period also was around the time of the Chinese Civil War, and it ended up that Chiang Kai-shek was in control of Taiwan, and it became basically a military dictatorship until the middle of the 1970s. And there we go. That's the middle of Taipei there. So it was a military dictatorship until the middle of the 1970s, and since then it's been a liberal democracy. There we have the parliament there, as you can see. So, yeah. Okay, now if we're actually visiting Taiwan on a yacht, the first place you're likely to call is Kaohsiung. This is the center of the yacht building in Taiwan, and it's a new, vibrant, very vibrant city. In fact, just today, I was reading that New York Times has recommended Kaohsiung as one of the top 100 places to visit in 2021, if you're lucky enough to get there. So Kaohsiung is a very big yacht building center in Asia. I think it's about the 6th largest in the world. They have, or they used to have a very popular yacht show every year. But anyway, it's now also developing as a Superyacht berthing facility, and this is the center of Kaohsiung. It's on the right. We've got a new arts center. On the left, there are little art galleries, whatever. This came about. I'll just blow the trumpet here. There was a lot of reticence in Kaohsiung to get this done. So we actually formed a grassroots organization, Kaohsiung International Marina Development Association. And with this, we recruited a lot of local professors, shop holders, even some of the yacht builders. That's Howard down there on the right. And with this lobby group, we were able to talk to the local authorities, and we managed to get available. This is a public facility. Any yacht can come in here and use this. So that's a 110-meter dry dock, extremely clean, and in actually part of a tourist area of Kaohsiung. So that's been made available for yachts. It's quite a good facility. We also have now got this beautiful center part of town is available for super yachts. You can get 6 super yachts up to 70 meters there, or 1 super yacht of 110 meters. My old boss is actually installing electricity and water there, so very soon that will be functioning super yacht port. One thing to be aware of, I've visited a few times, and I've had a few friends come there. If you're using a local yacht agent, be very, very cautious. They're used to dealing with very small yachts, and they're not used to the rules and regulations of large yachts. So if you're coming, check your pilot books and engage a ship agent is probably the best thing to do. Okay, one of the main things for coming to Kaohsiung would be refit. Now, okay, the facilities are, the commercial facilities are a little bit lacking, shall we say. However, the big advantage of Kaohsiung is it's very easy for international contractors to come in. The locals are in fact very skilled in stainless steel work, painting, cabinetry, all of the little subcontractors that go into making a yacht. Just the facility itself isn't so good. So this is actually an ABB Azipod. This is the first time this was actually serviced anywhere in the world. And this was done with excellent cooperation from the local shipyard. Okay, if I'm not actually, obviously, I'm not an agent for visiting yachts, but there's some information in a number of slides just coming up. So this is the new marina. I can put you in touch with the people who can help you more here. Just explains where you are. You're very much in the center of Asia. I think this is a place where super yacht owners might base their yacht between cruises, because it has all you need in terms of maintaining your yacht. It's a very safe place. Large yachts can get here. It's a very good place, a very good safe place for crew. And okay, it's nice. It's not maybe as sophisticated as Japan, but it's certainly a very good place for crew for rest and recreation in between cruises with the boss. Okay, so yeah, there's golf for the yacht captains. There's mountain biking. There's spas. There's shopping. Not as good as Hong Kong. There are good restaurants, but again, not as good as Tokyo or Hong Kong. Okay, but the facilities are very good for refit. And just as a little note for these times, it's also possible for you to sign on and sign off crew, which is pretty unique in this region. Okay, so if you're in the region and you need to get crew signed off, it is possible to go into Kaohsiung, and there are people who can help you sign off and sign on crew. So that's very useful at the moment. Okay, all right. Everyone either speaks English or knows someone who speaks English. It's very low tax, very easy for customs, and usually for immigration. And it's very welcome and friendly people. I think it's all been voted for years as the safest place in the world to visit. Okay, for crew, yeah, there's some really nice little places. This is just north of Kaohsiung. Is very quaint. It's not the south of France. Okay, just north of Kaohsiung is Tainan, and there's a dock here that can take super yachts. The tide is not very substantial, so it's under a meter. So it's not too bad on the fenders. Some of those places in Japan are on a commercial dock. Maybe you've got to be a little bit more cautious. So, but things are developing. So 8 years ago, we identified this spot here, which is a greenfield site, and 8 years later, it's now a lot of building has been going on in the background. But there's also a marina that can take up to 100-foot yachts, which is quite good. Okay, also in Tainan, just going back to a bit of history, this was the site of where the Chinese Navy came and removed the Dutch. And this is the pirate ship of Koxinga. It's a very faithful, very authentic recreation of a fighting vessel of the 17th century. Okay, now we go to perhaps the most beautiful part of Kaohsiung, Pungo Islands. This is where we took Susie nearly 10 years ago. And the main port there, Makung. Okay, this I think is maybe a bit deceptive. Yeah, the water is quite clean, but it's really not quite as beautiful as this. It's good for fishing, it's good for diving, but it is a little bit remote. So there's Ambrosia. We had to anchor a long way out, as in many places there's a military facility. Small yacht able to get in, but I think as you'll see, getting on and off the yacht is really not something that many over guests will do. So yeah, for the larger yachts, you have to use your tender, and there's Susie on board on our limo tender leaving Makung Harbour. So the reason to come to most people want to come to Pungu is diving or the food. and there's our chefs in the food market. There's a lot of very good seafood apparently. Okay, that is not pangu. That is Ile Saint Michel. And I've been told that if you like the agneau pré salé, there is some on pangu. But yeah, I've not seen it. So okay, going north, the other area you can go to. Oh, sorry, this is Genesis. Yeah, we managed to get that on a public dock again. You don't want to be staying there too long, but that was enough for our guests to get ashore and go to some of the restaurants. Okay, so going up to the north, Taipei, really all of that western coast there's really very few places to stop. Taipei, of course, the capital, and up in Taipei, quite close to the east of Taipei is Keelung, which has a marina, mainly for smaller yachts, but we were able to get Ambrosia in here, and also Genesis when we did a tour of the harbour. It's today on this photograph, it's very calm, but you have to be very careful. Of course, we're in the Pacific coast, and we get the swells rolling in, and you can be breaking your lines in there, so you have to be prepared for that. The coast, yep, very beautiful. All of this east coast is quite stunning. Very good for fishing, but you have to be prepared always to run round back the other side. This is what you should all be waiting for. This is a fantastic facility. It's a 110-meter synchro lift covered with an air draft of over 30 meters and 6 covered sheds of a quality I've not seen anywhere else in the world. This, we hope, will be available for refit in the near future. But anyone with a mega yacht in region that needs to have a very safe, very secure haul out, so then this facility is certainly worth looking at. Okay, I'm here as a yacht captain, and one other thing we just thought we'd mention is clearing into China as a super yacht. So I've done 3 visits to Sanya, which is probably the most likely place anyone will visit as it's opened up recently. First time 2005, and this was an unannounced visit. We were running from a typhoon, and we ended up in the north of the island, just sheltering from a typhoon, rather nasty one. It is now being developed as the holiday zone for all of China. It's China's answer to Hawaii. I'm not sure about that. I've not been to Hawaii. But anyway, Sanya I've been to on 2 further occasions. And this is really the playground for the very wealthy Chinese. And on the first visit I went there, we were able to anchor. The clearing process was a little bit fraught. The immigration insisted that the owners came ashore to visit them, and the owner was insisting that he would not go to meet the immigration. So we had to resolve that by arranging for the owner to go ashore and by chance meet the immigration authorities, but it all went quite smoothly. This is Sanya, but there is another quieter marina a little bit to the east, which is Ling Shui. And this is when we arrived there on a 55-meter a couple of years ago for Chinese New Year. And the welcome was much, much changed. In the 5 years between my first visit and the second, the immigration and marine authorities could not be more welcoming. Really, a clearing took us 30 minutes, clearing out took 30 minutes. So things are changing quite quickly. Some things for the good, some for the worse. So now we're only allowed to cruise during days of sunlight, and you have to have a pilot on board. But the coast here is quite beautiful, and so let's entry. Oh, just to mention, local knowledge is very important. There is quite a cross current in here. Before you go to any of these places, they're possibly not so well designed. So sometimes you have currents. If you've got a bit of local knowledge, you can avoid some problems. Okay. And then we've got a final little bit of coastline, and Yeah, it's very beautiful, but the problem is there's a big Chinese military base just behind there, which is why, yeah, the cruising is a little bit restricted at the moment, but it's only going to get better, and I can certainly recommend going to see it, and or basing yourself in Kaohsiung while you're in the area. Okay, but back to you, Susie. Sorry if that was a bit quick.
Thank you, Paul. And you're right, Taiwan is not on the cruising map, but it should be. And, you know, it's interesting, Taiwan is known for building boats, but not many of the population are actually enjoying boats. So, and I think the boat shows showed that people were interested, and that, yeah, I think there'll be a growing population of boat users in Taiwan.